we're back at our Airbnb, and the reason we're back at our Airbnb, it's a tongue twister, isn't it? Is because I'm walking across England on a duck and I've got to blow it up, and this is the biggest surface area to do it. Anyway, Scotland, Emma.
I love how that's just skirted over, you know what I mean?
Like a tumbleweed. Like a tumbleweed.
Oh,
How
my
did you
life.
find Scotland?
Do you know, I've had the most epic time. It's been a right drive back. I'm absolutely jaded, but I've had the most epic time. I really have. And I think choosing to let people of Scotland send us to places in Scotland has been the best decision. Absolutely. Don't you think that's been the best thing we've done?
Do you know what? I thought it were absolutely epic. But there's a really interesting thing that we both noticed, both Emma and me noticed. Well, she's got giggles. I can't even film properly because she just keeps giggling. But the one thing we noticed is what actually happened by getting Scottish locals to send us around Scotland is the butterfly effect, because it had epic consequences. Yes, the places were unbelievable. We saw everything you imagine Scotland to be: mountains, waterfalls, rivers running through things. We saw Glencoe, we saw Loch Lomond, like we had a pie in Lochimber, like, didn't we?
We did everything.
We did everything.
I just love that. I was like, both Emma and me, like as if I'm like some acquaintance. I don't know, it just sounded funny when you said that, then it really made me laugh.
We've left the tripod in Romany. All the camera.
I think I'm tired.
She's shattered. All the camera stuff, like the tripod and that, is in Romany, so I'm having to like handheld it. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Handheld. Handhold it. That doesn't sound right.
I don't know.
I'm having to handheld. I'm having to film handheld.
That's better.
That's right, isn't it? That's the right way around. Because we've literally got a couple of days in our Airbnb, as I say, in the cottage, before we have to go back out on the road. There's all sorts coming up. You'll see in the next couple of vlogs. It's all very, very chaotic at the moment. But I forgot what I was saying now.
I don't know what you were saying. I've no idea.
I was saying about how I ended up having a pie in Lochimber. I ended up having a pie in Lochimber because Becca from Ullapool had sent us to Lochimber, and we had a pie in Lochimber. What else did we do? We did so much stuff.
We started off in Moffat, and in Moffat we were in the charity shop, and that person sent us to Santa Beach.
But on the way we went to Glencoe, Loch Lomond, where we met a couple of lovely people in Loch Lomond.
Is that where that on way to get it? Wasn't we?
Yeah.
Santa Beach, wasn't it? Oh God, like, do you know, honestly, it's felt as well so long, and that's the other thing about when you're doing like travelling in a van, is that time slows right down. Like everything feels so much slower.
Every day feels like a week.
And you can proper enjoy it, you know. Every day just feels like it's just so much slower pace of life.
Every second is a moment in time.
And you're not... Shut up, you. I can't even do this seriously.
No, it is, Emma.
And do you know what? This is like the third attempt of us trying to film today, Reese.
I'm bringing a bit of poetry, a bit of poetry into the vlog.
Oh, do you know? But yeah, that beach, that Santa Beach was just
epic.
out of this world. I didn't know we had beaches like that, like in the UK. I didn't know we had that. It was like the Caribbean, and I think on a warm day that would have been just unbelievable, and as well as, I mean, it was anyway. But
it would have been even better. It would have been
just beautiful.
It would have been unbelievable.
So that's somewhere I'm definitely going to go back.
And then that lady then sent us to Ullapool, which is where the butterfly effect comes in. Can you hold that while I explain it to her? So the butterfly effect is it's a principle of chaos theory. I'm going to sound really scientific now. Have you got?
Oh, you're gonna. Do you know, everybody's going to be thinking we didn't know that
intelligent. So the butterfly effect is a principle of the chaos theory, and chaos theory is the theory that if a butterfly flaps its wings in Australia, it could cause a ripple effect, a domino effect to a series of events that, say, causes a hurricane in America or something. So basically what you have is something causing something, like it's a domino effect. And each of those moments, there's different variables in each of those moments, right? So let me explain how that applies to Scotland, because it blew my mind, and I suddenly realised, and I said to Emma, Emma, this is the butterfly effect. And she was like, oh God, yeah, it is. So like if we hadn't have started off in Moffat, because the only reason we started off in Moffat is because we needed, I think it was water or fuel or something, and we happened to go into a charity shop. If we'd have gone into any other shop other than a charity shop, we wouldn't have met the lady that sent us to Santa Beach. And if we hadn't met the lady that sent us to Santa Beach, we wouldn't have met the lady that sent us to Ullapool at that exact moment in time. Had we been a day later or whatever, it'd have been a different person. The variables are like, will blow your mind when you stop and think about that. And that lady that sent us to Ullapool is, obviously we arrived in Ullapool and that's where we met Brian Michaela, who have now become great friends of ours. And so, if we hadn't have gone through that series of events, we would never I'd have never met Bri.
You'd have never have had your bromance.
I wouldn't. Me and Bri have got a right bromance going on. I would never have met Bri and Michaela, and you wouldn't have met Michaela either, Emma, because you were with me.
Do you know, you explained that so well then that I felt like you needed to have like a pair of little glasses on, do you know? And do you know?
Oh, like a doctor,
I was thinking
like a
to
philosopher.
myself, have we got any on the shelf or anything anywhere, like a little pair of
Like a
glasses?
philosopher.
You should have been like a philosopher then. Yeah,
Let me have a look.
definitely.
Let me
I
have a
was
look.
looking, thinking,
Shall I have
is
a
there
look?
any? I don't think there is, you
See if
know.
we've got any. These are all stuff we've collected all over the years from our travels and stuff that have ended up in our Airbnb, but I don't think there is any little... We used to have some, I'm sure.
I don't think there is. But you said it intelligently enough that it doesn't matter really, to be fair.
Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, we're quite impressed with
But
that.
in that... I don't know. Ain't that good though, that the butterfly effect? And it really does, like, stop in your own life and think to yourself, like, I don't know, like, had I not gone for that interview on that day and got that job, I wouldn't have met my spouse, or if I hadn't have walked into that pub at that exact moment in time, I wouldn't have met such a person. Or the butterfly effect it's so vast and the variables are so mathematically impossible in theory that when you meet, like, well, we met Brian Michaela and then chased him through Scotland. Watch that video if you haven't seen it. But we would never have met him had that not been the series of
Do you know
events
what
that
I
unfolded.
also find really weird
interesting.
within the butterfly effect is when you think about that moment in time, you think, oh, well, yeah, but if I missed it. But then if you've got a partner where you look back in your history, you often find that, you know, with your husband, your wife, your partner, whatever, or we cross paths at certain points, but we didn't meet each other. Do you know, it's like that sliding doors thing, isn't it? You know, you cross paths at that moment, but you didn't actually meet each other because you maybe weren't meant to meet each other, or you were, but the worlds just didn't collide at that moment, so you ended up meeting at a later date. And it was like that with me and Reese. We'd kind of almost met on so many occasions in our past when we looked at it, actually to a point where Reese actually used to live over the road from me at one point, and I didn't know, years before we met. So it's so strange when you think to those times as well, where you just think we've almost and then kind of missed, and then what would your future have been at that point? Had you have met at that point, you would have had a completely different future, because again you'd have made different choices, and it just makes you it's quite mind-boggling, isn't it?
It is mind-boggling, because every decision you make leads to a different decision, and that decision then leads to a different decision, and there's infinite possible decisions.
But that's what I love about life, is that that life is full of decisions, options that we don't even know are there yet, do you know? So we often get a lot of emails from people that are really struggling at certain things in their lives and what have you, and I always just try and say to people, just wait, because you don't know what's coming. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know what's coming yet. And I think that when you have an experience where you think we almost missed each other, we might not have met that person, we might have met somebody else, but you just think about all the infinite possibilities that there are in the world because we've got choice. And I think that's an amazing thing, that we have freedom of choice to choose to do things in our life and to choose to do things in different ways. Anyway, that's really philosophical for an opening of a vlog.
I think they'll love it, Emma.
On to talking.
So what happened then? So this is like just our recap, basically, our thoughts, like, you know, after being sent around Scotland by locals. And I think the reason we wanted to do that is because it was just more fun, wasn't it? It was like we can do Scotland, we can do the NC 500. Number one, we like things to be different, and everybody does that. And also, obviously, filming for YouTube, we were like, how can we, you know, what's different? And then it came to me like a light out of the blue, and I just thought, let's ask locals to go around Scotland.
Yeah, and we like to just drop in on places. Like, we don't like to do research before, and we get a lot of comments like that, kind of, why don't you research? Why don't you look at where to go? Because we don't like to do that. We like to rock up somewhere, and just like you would if you were driving through and you just kind of, oh, let's pull up here, jump out of the car and go for a look in this shop or whatever. I just like to be able to stop off somewhere and see what it's like at that moment in that place. Again, because I'm a big kind of believer in the butterfly effect and in the fact that, you know, things all happen for a reason. That I think, oh, I've come across this town for whatever reason, and I were meant to be here for whatever reason, and who I might meet at that point. And so I think doing where we've asked locals to send us places has given us partly a unique look into Scotland, and we've seen places that we probably wouldn't have just passed because they were right like on the edge on the coast, and things that we probably would never have gone past those places. We certainly would never have found Santa Beach without, you know, somebody sending us there, more than likely. So I think that it's given us that opportunity. But it also kind of, I'm a little bit regretful because the only choice that we made, the only choice we made were where we got to the end of everything and we thought, right, we've done Glasgow, you've got to do Edinburgh, we've got to do Edinburgh. So the first thing that then comes to mind, because somebody's not sending you somewhere, because you're not asking somebody where to go, or you're not just driving past somewhere and thinking, oh, let's pull up here, we'll go to like the old town in Edinburgh. And so on one hand, I'm absolutely suited that we did that because it was the most beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, the buildings were just absolutely out of this world. So on one hand, I'm really suited that we did that. But on the other hand, and like a lot of your comments as well, I feel like I'm sad that we did it that way because I feel like we've missed the heart of the people of Edinburgh. Because
and we only ended
we've
up doing
gone
one street as well, didn't we?
Well, obviously, because we've gone to a tourist area. I can't walk very far. We're not going to go off walking for miles because I can't do that. And we've gone to the touristy place because that's the bit you want to see in it when you think of Edinburgh. And so, although that's been great because we have seen that side of it, I feel like we have missed the heart of the Edinburgh people, and I would like for that reason to go back in future to go and kind of, you know, get some recommendations from people to say this.
We've actually had loads of recommendations on comments, yeah, so we'll definitely be going and back and
because I feel
doing that.
I feel like it's like with Glasgow. That was the thing with Glasgow, that we just went and we just rocked up and we didn't know where we were going and we didn't know which area to go to.
And I think we tried to do that with Edinburgh, didn't we? And you know, I think there's a lot of places where people are saying, oh, you would have found the heart of Edinburgh more here. And
but that's because, and I think that as well is because we didn't, by the time we'd walked a lot round Glasgow, I were not in any fit state to be walking a lot round, you know, anywhere else, because we'd already done quite a lot of kind of bus journeys in Glasgow. We'd done quite a bit of walking. That's too much for me then. So it were like, right, let's just let's look at this, stay on this street because it's like, it were beautiful. But I do think we've missed that side of it, and I would like to go back and do that side of it. But I think, yeah, I still think it's been great having people send us that because of the fact that they have sent us to places that we probably never would have gone.
Yeah, and it's like, and it was so random as well because we got to Ullapool, we'd met Brian Michaela, Becca sent us to Lochimber where we had a pie and saw another epic beach. Like, Scotland at times were emotionally moving. Look, I'm being very philosophical tonight, but it were emotionally beautiful.
Where was that Lockwood Park next to where it were just purple skies?
Were on the way to Santa Beach.
That were absolutely immense.
We were literally lost for words. Like,
I didn't know you got skies like that in UK, to be honest.
No, I didn't.
Because normally that's what you get when you go to Spain or, you know, Portugal has beautiful sunsets. Ibiza has beautiful purple and orange sunsets. And what I find really interesting as well with that is if you look back in history, a lot of the historical kind of recordings, like when people have written about sunsets and stuff, are that they are purples. It's just that we don't tend to see it anymore. I don't know why that is, but in modern day times we don't tend to see it as much, or I don't know, maybe it's only in certain areas, but that it's amazing that like you get that beautiful purple, purples and blues, and it was just gorgeous.
And it was just unbelievable. Well, actually, tell you what was probably both mine and Emma's favourite spot in the whole of Scotland, and it was just great. We'll tell you that at the end because it's proper like probably a bit of a shock why it were our favourite really. But then we went from Lochimber, we were actually sent then to John O'Groats, and at first we were like, damn, we're gonna miss so much. But the beauty about travelling like in a van like we do, you know, we're on the road, like obviously constantly, and so it doesn't feel to us like, oh, we've missed something. Like a lot of the comments just kept coming in, like hundreds and hundreds of comments. You've missed this, you missed that, and I'll get to what we're gonna do with that at the end because we're so grateful that people did that for a specific reason. But yeah, we were like, oh no, you know, we've been sent over to John O'Groats. So we did kind of miss a lot of that, but not, if you know what I mean. Like for us, we can go back whenever
Because
we
we're on
want.
the road, it's not a holiday,
Yeah.
is it?
No, it's not.
It's not a 2-week holiday where we won't have a chance to do it again for another 12
You know,
months.
we're permanently
We
travelling.
can go back
So
when we want, can't
yeah.
we? So
So
we can
yeah.
do what we want, can't we?
Do
Reece?
whatever
do
we
it
want.
whatever
So
we
we
want.
went to. Not this again. Look at this. What are you doing?
My legs are hurting. I've got space. Put my
It's
feet up.
unbelievable. I've lost what I was saying now. We ended up in John O'Groats, right? But because of the weather and one thing and another, and the winds were just so bad, we couldn't like find a park up. We were like, right, let's just go to John O'Groats. So we ended up going to John O'Groats, where the only little local there were Paddington Bear.
Oh, I loved Paddington.
And then somebody said about marmalade. I can't remember what it was. Somebody said, "Oh, we're giving a clue because marmalade." We're at Dundee, I think marmalade. Anyway, somebody said on the comments that marmalade's made or something unknown in a certain place in Scotland.
And that could have been the place.
And that could have been the place where
Paddington were trying to tell us. And we
us
missed
where
that,
to
didn't
go.
we?
Yeah. So
We missed the subtlety.
anyway, then that's when we decided to then chase Brian McHale, who we'd met in Ullapool, down, and we met up with those, which ended up in Inverness, and then, or near Inverness, and then we asked Brian McHale where to go. They sent us to Glasgow. Now Glasgow, we're just. I haven't fallen in love with a city like that since Liverpool.
No. Glasgow gave you a hug.
It did.
That
did,
was my
didn't it?
feeling.
It
Well,
literally gave you a hug.
I was just replying to somebody who had emailed us about Glasgow a little bit earlier on today, and I said like that was the thing for me with it. It's not even necessarily that it's the better looking place or the better amount of shops or things to do or anything like that. It wasn't even necessarily like that. It were the people, that it was just so simply the people there, like from your bus driver to your person just walking past you on the street, and you just felt like everybody were walking up to you and giving you a big virtual hug. Like it just felt like that. You felt welcomed. Like, I don't know, do you know what I mean? You know, like if you go to your auntie's house for tea, right? And you go to your auntie's house and she makes you a cup of tea and stuff. And it's nice and you don't dislike her, do you? You sit down, you have a cup of tea at your auntie's house and it's a nice experience. You have a biscuit, whatever. But you know, if you go to your grandma's house, and your grandma gets all little sweets out and all that, and she makes you, and it's just like a warmer feeling, innit? It ain't necessarily that she does anything different when you go to your grandma's house. For me, it was like my great grandma. Not necessarily that she did out different to anybody else, but you felt like you'd been hugged just by walking into house. It feels like that. That's what it felt like to me.
It did.
Glasgow's like my great nan.
Glasgow's like Emma's great man.
So yeah, after we'd been to Glasgow, we obviously then went to Edinburgh, and then when we finished Edinburgh, we headed back to a park up that we'd actually been to really early on in the travels, just because it were a great park up and kind of like we were just, where are we going to go, what we're going to do. So we just thought, right, we'll just head over there, we can get the washing done, we can have a shower, we can do all the things that we needed to do, because it were an absolutely brilliant park up. Where were that park up, Reece? Where we went to where boats are, where were that?
I'm just making a brew.
Where were park up where boats are? Greenock. So we went back to Greenock, which were it's like sort of going back across like that, you know. So we went back there and spent a bit of time there as well. And we went to the most absolutely brilliant pub. What were the pub called?
You know, me being me, I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
I think it were called...
I'm sure it were called after the place, wasn't it?
It were called the Cannock or something.
Cannock, I think that were it. The Cannock,
yeah,
I think.
I think it was the Cannock.
I think that's what it was.
A brilliant little
But it was a great place. We'd gone out for a wander with Daisy, and we thought, oh well, you know, we'll just go out for a wander. Early evening, nice and sunny. So we'd gone out for a wander, and we came across one of those big kind of, you know, your normal sort of everyday big bars, pubs where you get food and all that sort of thing, you know, where you get kind of like your Sunday lunch for a tenner and that sort of thing. So we come across this place, just up the road from where we're parked up. And we thought, oh, well, we'll nip in there. Anyway, they wouldn't let Daisy in. So again, through a series of events, because they wouldn't let Daisy in there, we went on to look to see if we could find this other place that they directed us to. But on the way to that place that they directed us to from that pub, we came across this little pub. The Cannock, I think it was. And oh, what an amazing place. It was one of them you walked in and everything went quiet. And I was like, oh, and there's only like 4 locals in there. And I was like, oh, feels a bit uncomfortable. Anyway, we got ourselves a drink. We'd sat down. And that was it from that moment on. Everybody became your best friend. We met the bar lady there, absolutely amazing woman. Really good at managing everybody because we were all a bit daft. And she was just absolutely lovely. We met some great people there. I nearly got married off for a game of pool, which I wasn't quite sure what were happening because I didn't understand their accent were really, really strong Scottish. And I think I'd agreed to all sorts of things that I didn't realise I'd agreed to. So it were a right laugh. We had such a good time. And just like an unexpected thing in the middle of, you know, a place that you wouldn't, it's not necessarily a place where you go to visit. It's not like a kind of a touristy area or anything. And then you turn up there and then you meet the most lovely people. And so thanks to everybody in there in that pub because we had one of the best nights that we have had in the entirety of Scotland, to be honest with you. And I think we've got some photographs. We'll have to put some photos in. Yeah. But we just had such a good time. There were such lovely, lovely, lovely welcoming people. But it were really strong accents. Like I could not understand a word that hardly anybody was saying. It were really, really strong accents. But we still had a giggle throughout it all, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and like Emma says, it's that butterfly effect as well. Like, had we not gone into that pub, because it wasn't a kind of pub that you'd go, oh, we'll go in here. It was just like, oh, should we go in? And we're like, yeah. And I went in, and I was like, you know, I wasn't sure at first, and then it just turned into an epic night. And yeah, again, you know, making friends is great when you're traveling on the road like we do. Like making friends is kind of. Meeting people, I guess, is the word to describe it.
We'll never forget the characters from that pub. That's the thing.
That's the thing. We'll never forget them people.
And it's the same. And that you might not remember their names, but you'll never forget the characters. You'll never forget their personalities and how they were with you. And so, what somebody does rather than who somebody is becomes so much more important when you're on the road, I think, and how people interact with you. And the 2 ladies that we met down at the side of the loch. I can't remember which loch that was.
That was Loch Lomond, yeah.
Loch Lomond. The 2 ladies we met there. You know, you never forget people's characters. You don't, you know, you straight.
And the lady we met when we went and met with Bri and Michaela, and she came across to have a chat with us. In Inverness, like.
And you just never. There's, you know, you meet people. Obviously, there's people that have sent us places. Again, you get chatting to them. You don't forget who they are. But you just kind of have these encounters where you come across somebody and you start chatting, and I think that's amazing because I think the fact that you don't forget their characters and who they were and how they interact with you, their names sort of become so much less important in that situation. But I think that's because of how much they've impacted you and your life just in that one little moment, and we'll never, more than likely, see any of those people ever again. It's very unlikely that we'd ever come across them again because we're obviously travelling all over the place. But that's kind of nice as well because they've got a special place, haven't they, that you never forget, you know.
Although we might end up back there because that park up at Greenock at the marina, where we'd actually been there twice. It was the park up at the marina, and we went back just because it was such a good
told them that already. Oh, yeah.
I've been making you a brew. I've been making you a cup of coffee.
I don't know what that is, but it's not a brew,
no, because you said you needed some more milk or something, so I've only put you a little bit of milk in, so that we don't waste it.
No, I can't be having that, Reece.
But yeah, so Emma's already told you all that, so I don't need to repeat myself, do I?
When did we go? So I can't even think in terms of like what the best highlights have been. That's the thing for me. I can't.
I think there were so many. I think there were just so many. I mean,
people and scenery for me, I suppose.
Yeah,
the scenery. Like that.
The scenery were just absolutely breathtaking, like beyond words. Like as you've seen in the videos, really. This, you know, if you're new here, then obviously go back and watch those videos. But if you've been following us,
if you're new here, where have you been?
Where have you been?
Where have you been?
If you're new here, this vlog's actually going to be really complicated. So where Emma Reece and little Daisy was fast asleep over there, and we normally travel all across the UK and Europe in our camper van called Romany. But as I say, we are back at our Airbnb to blow the duck up. What are you doing?
What? I'm having a piece of cheese.
just having a piece of cheese. But yeah, the scenery throughout the Highlands, and oh my goodness, if you've not been to Scotland, go there because you'll just meet the most amazing people you've ever met in your life, and the scenery will just blow your mind. Like from the Highlands and the mountains to the epic architecture, you know, of Edinburgh and Glasgow, to be fair. And, you know, the little quirky pubs that you come across, and, you know, you can sit in front of an open fire and have a nice pint. And it's just, the whole thing is just epic. I think my highlight in all of this, which I kind of hinted at, beyond being blown away, beyond being absolutely mind blown throughout it and meeting the most incredible people, my highlight has to be that night in Greenock. It has to be. It was just surreal.
It was just amazing, wasn't it?
No, because then there were night that we met Brian Michaela and we went out then. But so do you see what I mean? It's too close to call, and that's how epic this journey around Scotland has been. And I'm so glad that we did it in a way where we asked locals where to go, because it just made it really funny.
Do you know what's
we didn't know
odd?
where we were going to end up.
Do you know what's odd about it as well is like we don't, you know, if you've kind of watched any of our vlogs before, we don't kind of spend like, we go to quite a few cafes and have coffees and stuff, but we don't spend time sort of going out, going to pubs and things like that when we're out and about, we're travelling and stuff. We're just kind of, we're on the road, and sometimes we might cross a bar or whatever, but I think being in Scotland, we've probably been in more bars than we normally would have been in.
Yeah.
But we've met people in different scenarios, because normally we would meet people when maybe you're having, sat outside having a, I don't know, a chili or a jacket potato, whatever, sat outside your van. That's when we'd meet people, because we'd make them some food and we'd sit with them and have something to eat, or we'd be sat having a fire somewhere and we'd sit around a fire and talk to people. And so there's so many like unbelievable ways of being able to meet people when you're not just going from your house to go out for a day out somewhere, and then, or even for a holiday where you're going back to your hotel room at night. We don't tend to meet people in the way that you normally would do if you go on a holiday, because you'd normally go to the pub, you'd meet people there, you'd go back to your hotel and that type of thing, and that's how you'd kind of met friends and what have you. But we tend to meet people more in nature and more on the road. And so it's been a real mixed bag, actually, as this trip, where we've met people where we have gone out for a drink with them and we have socialised in that kind of conventional way that we don't normally do, and that's been interesting. And we've met people next to at the side of locks and sat out and had coffee with them, and and so it's been just such a mixed bag of how we've met people, hasn't it? It's been really different to how we normally kind of would do our travelling. Do you know what I mean? It's just felt quite different, hasn't it? It's opened up so many different opportunities and different things.
We met Brian Michaela. Brian rings me about 6 times a day now, don't he?
I'm going to count how many times you've said Brian's name in this vlog.
Why?
I think you're obsessed with Brian.
I'm obsessed with him, isn't he? He's a legend. He's watching this now. You're a legend, Brian. So what is happening next on Romany Pirates? Now that we've done the little series of Scottish locals, send us around Scotland, what happens next? Emma's eating cheese. She loves cheese.
Not really meant to
We're about to make Emma's dream come true, is what I'll say. So on Friday's vlog, we are gonna make Emma's dream come true. That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna be one not to be missed, is that? Because I for one cannot wait to see Emma's reaction. So,
I'm so excited.
She's so excited.
I'm so excited. It's like I can't.
And if if you're missing your Fireside Fridays, don't worry, they're coming back. However, I started this vlog, didn't I, by saying that the reason we're back at our Airbnb for a couple of days is so that I can blow up the duck, and this is the biggest surface area to blow it up in. And you probably went at that moment, what is he talking about now? And so that's going to be the duck.
I have nothing to say on this matter. I have very limited things to say on this matter.
Very limited things to say. All will be revealed why I'm walking across England with a duck. So yeah, we've had so many recommendations from you guys, which we're so grateful for, of where to send us around Scotland. So after I've walked across England on a duck and Emma's had a surprise, or the other way around, there's a very, very high chance we're going to take a very old friend, one that you're familiar with, around Ireland. Then we're going to do Spain, but very differently, and Portugal, but very differently. And then after that, at that point, we're going to get We're going to go back to Scotland, but we're going to base it on your recommendations. So you, our viewers, our subscribers, our commenters, will be sending us around Scotland at that point. So that's what we're doing with all your lovely, lovely recommendations. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up, because it's a bit chaotic at the moment. You're not going to want to miss it. But until then, we will catch you on Friday for Emma's epic surprise, and it's one not to be missed. Thank you so much for watching. Keep writing your own story.